I'm Debbie from the Quilt Journal, and today I'm going to be talking about Fine Line Stencil Magic. This is a product that is put out by Accents in Design Fine Line Rulers. Carol Olson had sent me a jar of this because she knows how much I hate Pounce, and she assured me that this is a much better product. And you know what? She's right. So without further ado, let's get going and talk about stencil magic and making your own stencils. This was a skill until Carol exposed me to this, a few months ago that, you know, I hadn't even thought about. But for the timely sake, it's November, we're going to go ahead and do a pumpkin. And so I drew out my pumpkin. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see on the bottom here where I did a little erasing. Doesn't matter because that's not what we're going to make our stencil or use that. We're not going to stitch on paper or anything like that. I put a piece of transparency film. Let me back up that bus and show you. I bought this pack of transparency film at Office Max or Staples or one of those places. And I actually paid more for the copier stencil one because I had this brilliant idea. I was going to pass it through my copying machine, and I could do clip art and coloring book designs and make them into stencils. Well, the inkjet, it does smear and it is not real permanent, so just buy the cheaper transparency film and use a Sharpie. So having said that, I take my 8.5 and 11 piece of transparency film, you put it over here, I take my trusty Sharpie and you trace it out. Okay, and after you get it all traced out, you take it over to your sewing machine and you stitch on it, and you follow those lines. Now, I have one that I did. Let me see if you can see that. This one has been stitched out with an old, you take your thread out of your needle, and you put a big old needle in there. A larger bore is better, but I just pick one out of my jar of needles that are going to go in the garbage, and you stitch along your lines that you drew. So on this one, this is one of the ones I put through the copier, and as you can see, you might be able to see a little bit of the black from the copying machine, but I was able to rub all of this off, and I did try to clean it off because I was afraid it was going to come off on my fabric. So anyway, after I got done stitching all around it, you get ready and you put it on your fabric. So let me get the fabric out and get that ready, and we'll take it to the next step. Okay, so I stitched out my design, my little pumpkin. And when you feel your pumpkin, the top side that you stitch through, on the back side, it's going to be a little bit rough. In general, that is going to face up towards you, the rough side of this design. Let's see, I'm not sure. You can see just a little bit of that pumpkin design in there. So the rough design is facing up. Okay, and so then you have your stencil magic, and you take your little foam painting brush and you dip it in, and I use the lid, and then you just hold your stencil in place, and it doesn't take a lot, and you just rub it in just like that. Oops. And you try not to have your stencil move. Obviously, if you do that, you could get very non-defined lines. But you rub it in. It isn't flying everywhere. You can feel that it's a much weightier product. If it's flying everywhere, then you put too much on. And then when I pull it off, I think you can see real easily there what a beautiful pumpkin stencil I have. Now, Carol has this kit, and the kit comes with the Stencil Magic. It comes with the paintbrush. It comes with a couple sheets of transparency film, and it also comes with this nifty little gadget, which is a stencil, a quilter scale proportional scale resizer. So if I had a quilt and I knew I had a 4-inch pumpkin, but I needed it to be 6 inches, this nifty little wheel helps you resize it. So you would pick the size that you want, that your pumpkin is already. Say, so my pumpkin is 4 inches and I want it to be 6 inches. I line the 4 up with the 6. Let's see if you can see that. The 4 gets lined up with the 6. And then you look in the window, and the window where it's pointing to is telling you that that needs to be enlarged 150%. So you could take that picture, that drawing, whatever, to your copy machine or to Kinko's or Staples and have them increase it by that much. Now, another helpful hint that Carol did tell me is if you're really wanting that to stick and adhere to the fibers, and I have done this, let it sit for a day or 24 hours or a few hours, and you're going to find that it sticks and kind of seeps into the fabric. The difference between this and Pounce is this is something called Zinc Stearate powder. It is not made in China, it's made in the USA, and actually I left it on for a month, and I found that after a month it was still there, and you hit it with your iron and it goes away with a burst of steam. Having said all those things too, if you guys remember that going back, a couple months ago, I was saying that I bought these full line stencils and they came with Pounce, and how much I hated the Pounce, and I actually did a free giveaway because I felt like, oh, I'm never going to use these. And Carol kept saying, oh, give this a try. Well, guess what? Now with this product, if I was to work that in through the stencil on the full line, it goes right through. The other thing is that you're going to find that this does not get all over your machine and everywhere like the Pounce does. It's just not near as messy. There again, if it's being really messy for you, you can see my beautiful pumpkin that I have here. My full line stencils are not in vain. They work very well. Now, you're asking at this point, what if you have a light fabric? What are you going to do? Well, the Stencil Magic is not going to work on a white or a cream fabric. At that point, I would take the stencils that I drew my pumpkin on, and then I would use a stencil burner going around. But just remember to leave little dashes like you would in a traditional stencil, because if you don't, obviously your pattern will fall out and there'll be nothing to hold it. So when you think about traditional stencils, they always have like little dash marks, and that's there just to hold everything together. If you wanted to put this on a light fabric, you would have to go around it and do the same thing with a stencil burner, leaving dashes, and then use your blue water-soluble pen or whatever is your favorite method of marking and make your own stencil. But anyway, that is my tutorial today. I think that this opens up a whole new world of making your own stencils to suit yourself and suit areas and replicate them, mirror image them if you had to. It's, I said that this face is rough side up, but you can turn around and do the same thing if you turned it the other way in the other corner, if you were doing feathers or whatever you wanted to make. Well, happy quilting. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Debbie at the Quilt Journal. Bye.